What's going on, everybody? For those of y'all that don't know me, my name's Kenny Bowers. I run DFSXperts.com. We're a DFS help site. We've been around for a little over 3 years now. We do baseball, basketball, NFL, and most recently now, thanks to Joey Lazuski, we do PGA. His picks have been really, really good. We just debuted the sheet last week. We had a trial running up to it, and just to kind of see how it went, and his projections and everything have been really, really good. And plus, we also have a NASCAR room. We have Joe Kaniga, Jeremy Radke. Jeremy does the spreadsheet for both the PGA and the NASCAR, and he's done a great job. This past weekend, I actually finished in the top 250 in the major fan or DraftKings tournaments, and I'm not a NASCAR guy by trade, at all. So these guys know their stuff, and I mean, all of our sheets are on dfsexperts.com. Our spreadsheets, they also come with access to our chat, all of them. We have week, monthly, and season passes available. We even have a PGA NASCAR dual package for to make things a little cheaper for those of y'all that want to dive in with us. But we do have week passes just to try us out, and we have a Facebook room, DFS Experts, and that's the room that you can come in and access our chat through for those of y'all that get our spreadsheets. But we've been around for 3 years now. I'm sitting here looking at our spreadsheet for baseball today. It's a 11 game slate for the main slate. What I'll do with these videos is I'll go ahead and break down the pitching, break down the hitting, go into everything, and try to do it in a little, about 20 minutes, as best as I can. And that includes these, big slates. I figure it's one of those deals where I value my time, I value y'all's time, so I'm gonna try to do my best to cover everything, and I'm gonna bounce all over the place because it's just kind of the way I am. But it works. I'll just go over. I'll grade the pitching. I'll grade the hitting. We'll go over some stacks. We'll go over some one-offs. We'll go over some, just some info for you, and that'll be about it. We'll get my first little sip of Mountain Dew. This is a free plug for him. I love it. Yes, sir. Um, but yeah, I just want to. What I'll do with these videos is I'll just sort of dive in and cover the whole slate for you, and hopefully you find it helpful. Thank you for all y'all that are watching. This is our first little venture into YouTube. I figured there weren't enough people that are doing DFS baseball videos on YouTube, so I figured I'd jump into it, man. So, and I also have a really dry, bad sense of humor, so bear with me on that. Just don't focus on that, and just focus on the little kernels of info I'll give you. Real quick about last night, I was really it turned into Freddie Peralta. The night before I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be on him. I'll skip the Morton. I'll skip I'll skip all that, and I'll just play mid tier him and Price, which was the good play. I did not anticipate Peralta being so highly owned. I mean, as the day went on, I knew he was going to be highly owned, but cash, he was close to 80-85%. And I mean, did his job, man. I mean, more than did his job. He did a excellent job. David Price did well too. I couldn't get my bats to warm up, but luckily we had some people in the chat that did really well. If you see the DFSX on DraftKings or FanDuel, that's our people, man. So they did a really good job. Got some baseball satellite or some satellites for the PGA Millionaire Maker on DraftKings. So we'll have some bullets for that one. But yeah, last night for me personally, I missed on the bats. Kiki didn't come through. I didn't I played the other side of it. I recommended Lester as a good pitcher, but I personally liked a couple of Dodger bats, just to get to him, and it didn't work out. Pitching was fine, hitting just was nothing. But like I said, we had some guys in the chat room did really well last night. So let me dive into today. The pitching, a lot of the times I'll end up rating the pitching a 7. A 7's better than average, but not like top notch. You can do whatever you want to do kind of thing. Value from top to bottom. Today is not one of those days. Today is more like I'll say a 4, and a couple reasons for that. You know, Bumgarner is your top option, coming off his best start, but also coming off of injury. Uh, I mean, against Colorado, you know, he's okay, but not enough at his price on DraftKings. He is, let me see here. He's a 11-2, I believe. Scroll over. Yeah, he's 11-2 on DraftKings. 9,800 on FanDuel. Um, he's the top option as far as, you know, the guy that can get you the most Ks, the guy that can, you know, have a really, really good outing. But I'm not gonna, if I were gonna have one, if I were gonna do one lineup, I wouldn't put him in it. You know, obviously if you're, you know, able to do, you know, a lot of coverage and, you know, multi-enter, you know, I would definitely have some exposure to him. I'm gonna probably go along the lines of Porcello, as my boy Joey, our golf guy, talks about, calls him porcelain. But he has a good matchup. He's probably gonna win because you know, Boston is a heavy favorite tonight against the Angels, and you know, I wouldn't expect anything spectacular from any pitching tonight. I don't see anything like last night, you know, where you got 3-4 guys that are getting 10 plus Ks. That's not going to happen. I'm looking probably more along the lines of, like I said, Porcello, Bieber, even Ivan Nova, you know, Richard for San Diego, LeBlanc. When you're looking at Kyle Gibson and James Shields, and there is a legitimate chance that game could be a pitcher's duel, you know it's a weird slate. It's really, you're not going to feel comfortable behind anything pitching wise, I don't think. Now Bieber I like, but against St. Louis, it's going to be tough there. It is going to be a you know, a tough matchup, just because St. Louis does have some bats, and I mean you kind of get the feeling that Bieber's eventually going to come down to earth a little bit, kind of like how Covey did a few days ago. You know, Verlander, I guess you could say, a couple nights ago. You know, hitting's starting to pick back up. It's starting to become, you know, the first half of the year was a lot striking out, a lot of pitchers that were, you know, just dominating, and now you're starting to see, you know, like Houston, you know, they weren't doing so hot at the beginning of the year. Now they're starting to warm up, so more of a emphasis on offense, I think. Tonight, your bats are going to win you the. I mean, you're going to have good pitching, obviously, but you're going to have some good bats. And as far as hitting, I'd rank a little bit higher. I'd rank that at a true 7, I'd rank that at a true 7 because you have some really good stacks. The top two I'll mention for you, Boston. I mean, that's kind of a no shit sort of deal. You know, against the lefty, you know, that's Mookie, that's JD Martinez, and I wouldn't, even though that's a great matchup, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's going to be a high, you know, they're going to be super high owned. Cash, yeah, GPP, you know, they're expensive. I mean, 6,000 on DraftKings for Mookie, and JD over 5,000 on FanDuel, him and Mookie. So it's you're gonna have to do some maneuvering with your pitching, but like I said, unless you feel really great about Bumgarner, which currently at the moment at 12:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I don't feel wonderful about him. It's like I was telling people in our chat. You know, he is technically the number one option, but he's not somebody that I'm gonna have a ton of exposure to, because I don't want that to blow up on me. You can take it a little bit more if you spend less on pitching and you know, good. Basically, the worst doesn't have it. So I would put more emphasis on the hitting. Boston, Arizona against the lefties, so that's Goldschmidt, Nick Ahmed. There's your value play for the day. I imagine he'll be semi-popular, especially for people that play a lot of DFS. They know, you know, you queue up Nick Ahmed, crushes lefties. You also have Colorado is going to be, for those people that are not just not liking Bumgarner but feel like attacking him, you can go Trevor Story. You get a little discount for him on DraftKings. He's 4,400. You know, Eric. I don't think you get the discount with Aaron Rondo. No, 5,700 on DraftKings. So you're not really. You got to pay up a little bit for him, but Trevor Story. That's a good bat. And then also Murphy, the catcher. And then you're looking at Seattle, kind of like yesterday against Cobb. I would anticipate Seattle being a good play with Seager and Gordon. They didn't do so much for me yesterday, but I could definitely see them doing work today. And kind of a quiet. Let me mention real quick Texas, and that's strictly a weather play. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be humid. The ball's gonna carry, so you might want to have some Texas bats, specifically right-handers. Although Chu, as hot as he's been, I wouldn't look past him. But I'm looking more along the lines of like Profar and DeShields and in that realm, Connor Falefa, Connor Falefa. Yeah, sorry about that. So I'm looking more along those lines with Texas, but San Francisco against Kyle Freeland, you'll get a little discount, or you're not going to be paying a whole lot for McCutchen, Hernandez, maybe even Buster Posey. If you want to get really weird, you can go Hunter Pence. He started to come to life as of late. So if you're looking that route, and or you need a little bit of a discount because you've spent a lot on Mookie and JD or whoever, go ahead and I'd look at some San Francisco. Also, David Boat for the Cubs got called up. He's minimum price on FanDuel, second base, 2,800 on DraftKings. So, super cheap. Yeah, I was gonna say he may actually be 26. I may have looked at that wrong. He's either 28 or 26. Either way. And on DraftKings, he's got dual eligibility, second and third base. So, he's a cheap guy. Just to fill in, just a righty, just to have. But let me think of, because I'm gonna tell you a few other little things and then wrap this up. Because like I said, I know y'all don't have a ton of time to watch. You don't have an hour and a half or 2 hours to watch these things. Basic lineup strategy for tonight, since it's not a full slate, still a nice set of games, is for me, I'm gonna spend less on pitching and try to get my bats. I think tonight's not a night where you're gonna need, you're gonna have a pitcher. There will be a pitcher that will come out and will do work, but I don't think it's a deal where you're gonna have 2, 3, 4 just dominant guys. I think you're gonna have a lot of middle of the road. You're gonna have a lot of scoring tonight, I believe. So, even with me, I like Bieber, the pitcher, not the other Bieber. I like Bieber. I also like Nova, and Nova isn't going to do anything sexy for you. I would make that more of like a SP2 play on DraftKings, not a on FanDuel. You can roll them out, but just don't be surprised if you're not getting a lot of Ks. I wouldn't be surprised if you got between 2 and 4 Ks. He's not. He's just not that type of pitcher. I mentioned Kyle Gibson earlier. I definitely prefer him to the James Shields. I don't, unless you're playing a 2-game slate, I don't really see any reason why you should ever roster James Shields. It just doesn't seem right to me. Still, I don't care if he's been pitching better. It just doesn't seem logical to. I don't know, man. I'm just so conditioned to stack against James Shields that it just seems weird. Kyle Gibson too, but I will acknowledge that Kyle Gibson's gotten better this year. It's not like it was last year. Same thing with LeBlanc. For Seattle, he's a decent option tonight. I wouldn't look past him. If I was doing one lineup, I wouldn't look at him. If I was doing one lineup, what I would do is I would probably have Bieber as my pitcher on FanDuel, or a Bieber Nova combination on DraftKings. That would be the way I'd go. And then I'd get as much Boston in as I comfortably can. I wouldn't go to the point where you're drafting people 3,000 and under. DraftKings, you're not going to get that kind of value. Really, anything under 3,500, you You can find a little bit under 3,500 in most cases, but you're not going to have the days where you used to be able to find somebody that was 2,000 and would be hitting in a decent order. The only way that would happen would be if there was somebody coming off the DL and it was just DraftKings or FanDuel slipping. FanDuel, you'll get that sometimes. Watch for guys coming off the DL on FanDuel. You'll have, I believe I remember earlier in the year, I think Bogarts was ended up winning. Bogarts ended up being 2,000 at one point when he came off the DL. So that was a pretty interesting thing, and that cued me into the, when they're on the DL, they just, their price sort of trends down. So just something to look at. Like I said, Boston, Arizona, Goldschmidt, Nick Ahmed. Nick Ahmed would be my value play of the day. I'd have a whole lot of him. He'll probably be batting second, I would imagine, in the order. So against the lefty, you gotta have some exposure there. And some Seattle. Trying to look at where your value would, because for the spreadsheet I kind of do a player pool, and I end up doing my cores later on. I'll for the members of the chat and for the spreadsheet, I have 7 cores, and it'll just be a pitcher and it'll be 4 players, 4 hitters. And last couple nights they've done really well. I ended up changing this up from about 2 weeks ago. I was just naming like the top players at each position, and I kind of feel like that's sort of a no shit kind of thing. You look at the ratings or you look at the rankings and you kind of deduct for yourself. This guy's the best and this guy's next best and such and such. So, just a way to make the most out of the space we got. San Francisco would probably be the way I would go if you're looking for a stack to kind of unlock. Because I don't believe in doing a bunch of one-offs. You want to stacking is the way to go in baseball. That's it just is. So San Francisco would be the way I would go to unlock Boston, Arizona, mainly Boston. That's the way you're going to look at. I like Baltimore too against the lefties. So just be mindful there. Moncada for the White Sox has been on a roll. So just keep him in mind. I'm just trying to come up with players that y'all need to have some exposure to and people that I like. I mentioned Murphy for Colorado. Sandy Leon for Boston always catches Rick Porcello. And he's been playing a little bit more lately. Dirt cheap. He's 2,800 on DraftKings, 2,200 on FanDuel. If you're just looking for a punt, because normally I do like to just punt catcher. I do like Posey, but Posey and Contreras, but really for the most part I just like to punt it. FanDuel, I usually just go with the first baseman unless it's just I'm trying to fit in a lot more hitters or what have you. So Sandy Leon, if you're looking to complete a Boston stack, that is a good way to go. And let me think if there's anything I'm missing. People like to talk about the late night hammer and they want to have late game exposure. It's gone from the point where it's not logical to you. Sometimes you do need to have a little bit of exposure, but don't force the issue. But San Francisco would just fall into that play. The Cubs too, if you feel the need to. But yeah, that's facing Alex Wood. Alex Wood, he's not somebody that I'm looking at rostering, but he's not necessarily somebody I'm looking at attacking. So, and that's kind of how I feel about. That's how I'm feeling about Bumgarner at the moment. If you want to check me out at DFSXexperts.com and get the spreadsheet, you'll find that I may change my opinion on this in a couple hours. But that's where I'm at right now. That's where I've been for this morning. Let me add something because I'm going to wrap this up. A lot of people, I'll do this at the end of every video. It'll be DFS related, but not in the way you're, conventionally thinking. A big thing that I preach in my room and overall is having a positive attitude. DFS is a field though, it'll just conduce a lot of negativity. Just in the fact that more often than not you're going to lose. If you're playing, if you play poker like I have, you know that if you're winning like 20-25% of your or cashing 20-25% of your tournaments, you're doing pretty good. That's just it's just the way it's set up that you're going to lose most of the time. But along with that, though, you got to be able to handle the grind, and you also have to know when to take a day off. And that's sort of that's what this is alluding to, is that if you're having a bad day, if there's stuff going on in your personal life or whatever it is, and you're just not feeling it, it's a good idea to not play. And you'll end up if you're having a bad day, you're more likely going to make bad decisions. You're going to do things that you're not comfortable doing, or you wouldn't normally do, just simply because you're just not in the right frame of mind. You'll play for more money. You'll make a shitty lineup that you would have made a much better lineup before, and it'll make your whatever situation you're in a lot worse. So this is just me telling you that if you're having a bad, if something's bugging you, and whatever the case is, don't make it worse by playing more and trying to fix the issue, especially if it's a money thing. You need to be really disciplined there. You don't want to go into that addiction kind of category, and then it gets real dangerous. And you gotta, DFS is I love it. It's the most fun thing in the world. But if there's something that comes in the way, I will have to I'll bow to that. I'll take care of my customers and all that and do my thing, but I may just not play for the day. Excuse me. But that's just it's just smart to not if you're feeling a certain, trust your gut and your instincts. That's just like I say with playing DFS. Trust, if your gut's telling you something's not right, I don't feel it, don't play. And that's about it, y'all. I guess like me on YouTube, go to the DFSexperts.com, get the spreadsheet. $9.99 for a week for all sport, or not all sports, in each sport individually is $9.99 for a week. It gives you a good way to try it out for 7 days. We're not for baseball, we don't do a spreadsheet on the weekends, but we still offer advice. Got plenty of people in the chat room that can help you out. And that's what it's all about, is helping each other out. So and like I said before at the beginning, we've been around for 3 years now. I'm just now getting around to putting stuff out on YouTube, because when you're busy doing real life and just other things going on, and plus I'm not the most technologically advanced person in the world, so it took me a little bit to catch up to the trend here. But I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know if you found it useful. I'll give you a real quick core. We're gonna go Beaver. We're gonna go Betts. We're gonna go JD Martinez. We're gonna go Paul Goldschmidt, and we're gonna go Nick Ahmed. And you can pull that off on DraftKings or FanDuel. So let me know how that works for y'all. And go to the website, go to the Facebook room, DFS Experts. And I appreciate y'all watching. Peace.